largest condom maker. Just saying. They even have their own national car company, Proton, making Malaysia the...
Okay. Wow, guys. Another geography now Malaysia. Geography now Malaysia.
Since I made the Indonesia episode, you have no idea how many Malaysians were like...
Okay, now that you did our cousins episode, do not mess with ours.
Oh, don't worry, Malaysia. And here to reassure you, I made you some nasi goreng.
It's time to learn geography now!
Hey everybody, I'm your host Barbs. How refreshing! We are back in Southeast Asia, and today, after Brunei, East Timor, Indonesia, we are doing the last country in the Nusantara archipelago, Malaysia. Ahem! Oh, sorry, didn't see you there, Singapore. You're so small. So what do the Malaysians bring to the table that the others don't? Well, let's find out in the first segment. Cue transition! Now this is going to be really fun because Malaysia's land has so many unique twists and turns, and explaining it, it's kind of like doing a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. Right, Ken?
Right, totally.
Yeah. You got it?
I don't know, did I?
You got it. First of all, Malaysia is located in Southeast Asia, divided into two main parts. Peninsular Malaysia, where about 40% of land, which also has the southernmost tip of mainland Asia, Tanjung Piai, while East Malaysia, or Malaysian Borneo, takes up about 60% of the country's land on the island of Borneo, making it one of the only two islands shared by three nations along with Cyprus. If you want to be technical, Cyprus kind of has four, including the UN buffer zone, but you get the point. Just watch the Cyprus episode. Keep in mind, about 80% of the population lives on the peninsula, while only about 20% live on Malaysian Borneo.
What the heck? Yo, this is interesting. The whole concept of a nation literally detached from each other. I don't know why. That's just so it's unique. You don't really see that much. You don't really see that. I think like what America's like that too, where he has like Alaska. Freaking, but you don't really see that much. I don't know. Malaysia is one of those countries that, I don't know, Southeast Asia. I really feel like I would really love Southeast Asia. It seems so fascinating to me.
The country has over 870 islands off its shores. The state of Sabah,
bro, how do you even count?
400.
Bro, what?
Being Bangi Island. However, the island of Sebatik is a little bigger, but the island is split in half with Indonesia in the south. Also, they have a little bit of a dispute with the Philippines in the east. The country is divided into 13 states and 3 federal territories. Putrajaya Labuan, with the capital Kuala Lumpur. However, due to overcrowding, almost all the government ministries and administrative offices were moved to Putrajaya in 1999. After Kuala Lumpur, the next largest cities.
How do you damn, bruh. What's the population of Malaysia? Well, he's gonna tell us anyway, so
are Georgetown on Penang Island and Ipoh. The busiest airports are Kuala Lumpur International, Kota Kinabalu, and Penang Internationals. Now here's the thing, Malaysia lies under the South China Sea. If you don't know anything about this place, and if you didn't watch the Brunei episode, it basically goes like this. Basically, every country in this area wants a piece of these things called the Spratly Islands.
oh yeah,
Malaysia has claimed to about 11 of them, and the most notable one being Layang, which they built an airbase on. Now you might notice that it's interesting how these two small entities, Singapore and Brunei, got mixed up into this whole region. Well, when it came to Brunei, it kind of went down like this.
Welcome to the Malaysia Agreement. Sultans, please sign the paper saying you'd like to be part of Malaysia.
Wait, I'd have to give up that? And I'd have to lose control of what? Oh, hell no. As for Singapore, it was more like,
hey Malaysia, you just
I know the Singapore story.
got free from British rule. Let's join up.
Makes sense? Yeah, we are now one country.
Yeah.
You have too many Chinese people, and you're gonna waste my money!
Yeah, well you only get privileges to the Malays!
You know what? You're out of the club.
Yeah, fine, whatever. I quit. One day, you know what? I'm gonna make something of myself!
Okay!
and boy,
You know, it's funny. I watched the video actually of the Malaysian, not Malaysian, the Prime Minister of Singapore. He actually didn't want that. I watched that video of him crying when Singapore literally got kicked out of Malaysia. And hilariously enough, later on actually, Malaysia did say that it regretted doing that. I mean, of course, regretted doing that. I mean, look at Singapore.
Howdy, did they keep that promise? Otherwise, some notable places of interest might include places like the largest roundabout in the world, the Petronas Towers, the tallest twin buildings in the world, Kuala Lumpur Tower, the
Can we get an F in chat for the old Twin Towers in New York?
Batu Caves with a Hindu shrine, the National Monument of Malaysia, Legoland Malaysia, yep, they have one, Sunway Lagoon, the National Mosque of Malaysia, Kek Lok Si Buddhist Temple, these palaces, the old Dutch buildings of Malacca, the Leaning Tower of Teluk Intan, Afamosa Fortress, the cat statue of Kuching, this Heritage Museum, Sarawak Cultural Villages, and the Sepilak Orangutan Rehabilitation Center.
Okay.
Yeah, orangutans, they have plenty of those in here, which means we can now swing over to the next segment, the... When it comes to Malaysia's land, they got kind of lucky because not only is it like rich and beautiful, but unlike their neighbors, they don't really have to deal with any crazy catastrophes. First of all, Malaysia rests comfortably on the bottom of the Eurasian plate, literally shielded on all sides, mostly by Indonesia and the Philippines. This means that if any earthquakes occur, Indonesia usually absorbs all of it. If cyclones and tropical storms attack, the Philippines and Indonesia take the hit, and if a volcano erupts, they don't have to worry because they don't really have any volcanoes, and it's probably happening in Indonesia.
Thanks, Indonesia.
Now, when it comes to
Wow, that's actually like Barbados. No volcanoes. We don't get hit by hurricanes. That's eerily just like Barbados.
even though the largest lake, the Kenyor Reservoir, lies on the West Peninsular Malaysia side, the Eastern Malaysia Borneo side has all the extremes. They have the highest mountain, Mount Kinabalu, the longest river, the Rajang, and a lot more animals. In fact, Malaysia is one of the most biodiverse countries in the world. They have 14,500 species of flowering plants and trees, over 600 bird species, over 200 species of mammals. Speaking of which, Peninsular Malaysia is home to the most black panthers in the world. Insert Wakanda joke, I don't have time. Speaking of that, the national animal is the Malaysian tiger, which is also featured on the coat of arms, which we will cover in Flag Friday. Stay tuned.
Ooh,
Otherwise,
tiger.
Elephants, rhinos,
Tiger.
orangutans,
Oh,
they each have
yo.
their own version.
I've never seen a tiger on a coat of arms before. People usually just put like lion or something like that.
Of tapirs like the ones in South America. Wow. And that creepy looking proboscis monkey. Many of these species you can find in one of the oldest rainforests in the world,
hell?
3 times older than the Amazon, Taman Negara. Malaysia is also a land of caves. In fact, they have the largest chamber in the world that can be found in Sarawak. Otherwise, Malaysia is known for producing electronics, palm oil, petroleum, gas, and rubber. They're the
Damn.
largest palm oil producer in the world and the largest condom maker. Just saying. They even have their own national
okay.
car company, Proton, making Malaysia the
Okay.
country in the world.
Okay, Malaysia.
We design and engineer and manufacture cars. Otherwise, some national dishes might include things like nasi kandar, nasi dadang, nasi kebab.
That was good.
chicken per-
That-
mango
yo.
and durian are treasure
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie to you.
fruits.
This video low-key makes you want to go to Malaysia. I'm not gonna lie to you,
National
bro.
dish, nasi lemak. Oh, and if you have the chance, see if you can witness the famous Tariq tea shows. The servers pour out tea, sometimes over a meter in length. It's almost seen as like an art form. Okay, I think that's just about it for now in this segment. Let's talk about the coolest part of Malaysia, the Malaysians.
Ooh,
Record,
demographics.
the word Malay refers to the races that make up Malaysia. Malayan is the geographic term for peoples of West Malaysia on the peninsula and not part of Borneo. And Malaysian is the nationality and citizenship. So a Malay person in
Nationality and citizenship. Golly, bro. I mean, and one thing I like about geography now is that he knows how to use his terminologies correctly. In my Geography Now Germany episode, when Geography, Barbs is his name really and truly, I just say Geography Now, but when Geography Now say that, you know, Germanic peoples weren't really united into a country up until recently, and I was like, oh my god, finally someone who used Germanic properly. You know, the people in my comments were so ignorant, quite frankly speaking, because they were saying that, like, oh, they were saying that I was using Germanic wrong, and I was like, no, Germanic are like the ethnicity. German is the modern nationality / citizenship. It's just that Germany, the modern nationality / citizenship, just simply got its name through, well, the ethnicity / race, right? Germans, right? From Germanic people, you know, like, bruh. Oh my god, ignorance, bro, is
Singapore is Malay, but not Malaysian. And a citizen of Indian descent living in Kuala Lumpur would be a Malaysian and Malayan, but not Malay. Got it? Probably not. First of all, the country has about 32 million people and is one of the fastest growing nations in Asia. The country is made up of 67% Malay or Bumiputra indigenous Malay peoples. We'll talk more about that in a bit. About a quarter of the population is Chinese, about 7% are Indians, and the rest are other groups mixed in, including a few other Asian groups and Europeans. They use the Malaysian ringgit as their currency, they use the type G and M plug outlets, and they drive on the left side of the road. Now, here's the thing. Let's talk politics. No, we're not getting into an ideological debate. We're just going to explain the system in which Malaysia's government operates.
Proceed.
Malaysia is one of the few monarchies in the world. However, it's not a monarchy in the conventional sense.
Oh, yeah.
They kind of have 9 kings-ish. These 9 states each have a royal leader known as a sultan, and every 5 years they rotate to allow one of the 9 sultans to rule as head king, known as the Yang Di Pertuan Agong. That means that technically, if you were a boy and your dad just finished being king for his 5-year term, you could be the next one, but you would have to wait at least 40 years for it to happen. You know, since 8 other kings would have to be king before you. Yeah, I know, it's like, oh, what the? There's a lot more that...
this is okay. Yeah, so I was gonna talk about this earlier, but I was like, wait a minute, we're not at that part yet. But the monarchy, God, I love it whenever I see monarchies countries. If you don't know, this is why I have the flags that I do in my videos, and I specifically choose the variations that I choose of said flags because it represents the fact that I'm a monarchist. This is also why you see me with these portraits of monarchs of said countries. In this context, you see the old monarch of Barbados, Queen Elizabeth II, back when she used to be our queen up until 2021, where the government decided to just abolish the monarchy without consulting the people at all. Which that still annoys me, but considering the political state of the world, I feel more, I'm like, maybe, I don't know, maybe it might be a good thing. I don't know. I heard Jamaica's gonna try and abolish a monarchy next, which that'd be unfortunate if they do. That would be very unfortunate if they do. Yeah, if you've been watching me long enough, you'll notice that I have the Russian Empire, the old imperial Russian flag, as well as my portraits of the czars of Russia. Again, to represent the fact that I am a monarchist. All right. It's hilarious how, you know, a lot of people don't notice that, but that's why I have it. I like, don't get me wrong, like, it does represent more than that, but that's like one of the core meanings of why I have this stuff up. But yeah, absolutely base Malaysia for being one of the only few monarchies left. I absolutely love that, honestly.
That goes into it, but that's kind of like the basic underline. They are the only country that does this. I mean, the closest thing would be maybe the Comoros with that rotating president thing, but it's nowhere near as complex as this. Nonetheless, the royals are held under a constitution that limits their power mostly to cultural and religious affairs, as well as appointing certain leaders and so on. Most of the government activity is held and controlled by the prime minister and the parliament. Which brings us to the most recent controversy, the 2018 election. This effectively changed everything, as for the first time since 1957, the BN party was voted out and the new PKR party took over, and it was actually a peaceful transition. We really don't have a lot of time to talk about it, but it's really interesting to look into and talk to a Malaysian person if you want to know more about it. It was like a huge deal for the country. Anyway, the country has 2 official recognized
I want to learn more about it.
languages,
Tell me in the comments.
Malay and English. They were once a British territory, so it kind of makes sense. It's taught from elementary school. Malay is basically intelligible to Indonesian. Both countries can generally understand each other. I explained this a bit in the Indonesia episode. For Malay, the words are easy to read, but the problem is the intonation. For example, the word for slowly, I believe, is perlahan, not perlahan. It's like you have to know how these things work. Nonetheless,
So like, basically like stress on the vowels and like on certain parts of letters, right? You know, that's intriguing to me because Indonesian is a level 3 language for English speakers to learn. Level 3 language, which That's not hard, guys. I mean, that's like the beginning of hard. That's the beginning of hard. But still, though, I was quite shocked when I saw that Indonesian was only level 3. Wait, was it Indonesian I saw that was level 3? I think it was Indonesian, yeah. Yeah. But to know that it's mutually intelligible Malaysian, that's cool.
Plus, about half of the population is mostly fluent in 3 languages, adding their mother tongue, especially if they're part of the Chinese and Indian minority groups. And they are allowed to take vernacular schools that teach in these languages, just like Singapore. Which brings to culture. In Malaysia, the population is quite diverse. You have a lot of Chinese, known as the Peranakan Chinese, that have existed there since the 15th century. They have a unique Chinese-Malay culture with a touch of European influence. The Indian community is mostly Tamil and Telugu-speaking South Dravidian Indian groups that were brought over during the British colonial years. Then, of course, you have the largest people group, the ethnic Malays, or the Bumiputra, as well as the Orang Asal, whom are like the really indigenous ethnic Malays that make up the majority of the population in East Malaysia on Borneo. Sometimes these two people groups are collectively joined together under the term Malay, although some might disagree. But either way, these two groups kind of steer the direction in terms of what constitutes Malay culture. Oh, and don't even get started on the Bajau people that live on these structures in the middle of the ocean for most of their lives, and they've adapted to hold their breath for like 15 minutes underwater. Yeah, those people are cool. Another thing I really want to highlight
What?
Indonesians do kind of accuse Malaysians of stealing their culture because a lot of Malaysians are descended from Sumatra. Faith-wise, Malaysia is also quite diverse, although the country's official religion...
No, you're not stealing their culture. It's just that, like, the original culture, it either morphs into something else or it gets combined with another culture. I wouldn't really call that stealing. It's more like shared heritage, right? It's like whenever I see Ukrainian people and Russians like arguing about, "Ooh, this is from us and not you," blah blah blah. I'm like, bro, y'all at one point y'all were the same people. Technically, you still are the same people, really and truly, but whatever. You know, you're descended from the same ancestors. Of course, you're gonna have the shared cultural heritage, like bro.
is Islam. It's a multi-confessional nation. Buddhists are mostly from the Chinese community, Hindus for the Indians, Christians from all races. Numerous temples, mosques, and shrines and churches are found all over. Malay culture is defined by a number of aspects. For one, the clothing. Remember a couple months ago, that guy from Malaysia, Kamarul, sent me the Malay hat, the Tengkolok. So I forgot to bring this on set when we were filming, but I still have the hat, and I love it, and I told you I would wear it in the episode. So here I am. I'm wearing it in the Malaysia episode. Thank you so much, man. I asked some of you guys, the Malaysian geography, what you would like me to highlight in terms of Malay culture, and some things you said included things like the performing arts such as joget dancing and makyong theater, traditional shadow puppetry, silat martial arts, songket weaving, the traditional steep roof and sharp buttress architecture, gamelan music. Speaking of which, history time. We don't have enough time to go too far into it, but in the quickest way I can put it, Hindu kingdoms, Buddhist kingdoms, Islamic Sultanate, Portuguese came in, Dutch came in, British came in and made the White Raja period, which made things interesting. World War II, Japanese came in, British came in again, independence. Okay, very quickly, just to cut, this is the part where I totally forgot to mention all the cool stuff that happened in the 60s. It's how they got those 2 states in Borneo. We'll explain more on Flag/Fan Friday, so stay tuned. Economic restructuring and industry boom, 2018 vote for the new prime minister, and here we are today. All right, some notable people that you guys, the Malaysian geography, suggested that
what happened in 2018?
I should mention in this video might include people like Siti Nurhaliza, Lat, the cartoonist, Sheikh Muzaffar Shukor, P. Ramli, Ziavi, Hang Tua, Enrique of Malacca, Michelle Yeoh, Tony Fernandez, Air Asia owner, designer Jimmy Choo, Melinda Louie, singer Yuna, director James Wan, Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, Nicole An David, Lee Chong Wei, Henry Golding, and the first Prime Minister, Tunku Abdul Rahman. I'm sure there's way more famous people I could have mentioned, but we gotta move on. Time to go to the last part of this episode, Now, Malaysia is quite the powerhouse player when it comes to Southeast Asia. They got a good thing going on and they host great parties. Outside of Asia, the EU has good relations, making Malaysia one of the top 3 trading partners of Southeast Asia, and specifically Austria loves exchanging electronics and pharmaceuticals with them. Of course, the UK is still pretty close. As a former colony, much of the cultural residue is still evident to this day. They are one of the Commonwealth of Nations. Many Malaysians live in the UK, and most of the white population in Malaysia are of British descent. As a member of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, of course, they have close ties to their neighbors. Cambodians love Malaysia.
You know, I saw I remember I saw like a tribute video to the British Empire, and I was reading the comments, and I saw a bit of Malaysians in the comments that were rather like, they were rather I don't even know the word, like joyful. I don't want to say joyful. More like, I don't want to say patriotic either. But they were rather like, they were expressing a lot of gratitude toward the British Empire. They were showing a lot of love for the British Empire. And I was like, wow. I was like, that's actually surprising. Like, I know that they're a part of the Commonwealth, but honestly, I don't really know much about what Britain did in this area to them, for the, I don't know how they, if they even improved anything. Like I said before, I don't know much about Southeast Asia, quite frankly speaking. In fact, Southeast Asia is probably that part of the world that I probably know the least. You know what I mean? So, you know, it was, you know, it did make me, you know, I did enjoy that though, seeing all the Malaysians showing their love for the Commonwealth and the old empire that preceded it. You know, at the end of the day, you know, we're all Commonwealth brothers at the end of the day. So it was honestly nice to see that, oh wow, people from other parts of the Commonwealth, like far away, they still show a bit of love for that.
Malaysia and visit often, whereas Malaysia is one of the closest and biggest investors of Cambodia. Thailand has a few issues since there are those Malay Patani separatists in the south that keep protesting, whereas the Philippines is like, we're really similar ethnically, but you're mostly Muslim and I'm mostly Catholic, but whatever, we both like coffee and fried chicken. When it comes to their best friends, however, most Malaysians I've talked to have said Indonesia and Singapore. Singapore may have left the Malaysian Union, but they still kept close ties as a sovereign state. They are quite cooperative in business, and even culturally, they are very similar, with noticeable Chinese and Indian minority enclaves. Indonesia is like the big brother that has a very different political system, but in the end, they cannot deny how alike they are. The biggest difference would be that most Indonesians have a Javanese background, whereas the Malaysians are just Malay, mostly Sumatran, but they talk the same, they eat the same, they enjoy the same hot, humid atmosphere, and they have close relations altogether.
What's the language family like?
Sultans, kings, tigers, panthers, temples, shrines, mosques, and really cool hats. It's no wonder why Malaysia is becoming a hot spot that everyone's talking about today. Stay tuned, the Maldives.
Yo, Malaysia, bro. Southeast Asia, bro. I don't know about Indonesia. Indonesia depends on which part of Indonesia. Indonesia's big as hell, so it's a very diverse place down there. But Malaysia, I don't know. Don't they have like a bunch of wild animals and stuff that'll freaking try and freaking unalive you? Whatever. If you like this reaction, you have any more reactions like this you want to see my reaction to, you can always comment in the comments below. This was a part of Members Week, where my active viewers who decide to become a member have their videos done and reacted to for 2 weeks. Active viewers, make sure to subscribe, number one, okay? Because some of you are active, but you're not subscribed. But if you, especially if you made it all the way here, subscribe, number one. Number two, if you guys always binge watch my stuff, you're already subscribed, you want me to react to a bunch of videos, because I have people who want me to do so much video reactions. I'm like, bro, I'm just one guy, bro. This is why the channel membership exists. Okay, when the membership exists, you get special perks. Your comments have more priority. You get access to the VIP Discord server, bro. I just added a new perk where members have their comments read out to whilst I'm doing a video when I'm busy, you know, because sometimes I'm like super duper busy and I just can't read comment. Well, I read them, but I can't respond to them. So I'm like, okay, let me respond to member only comments during videos, right? You know, so that they see that, okay, yeah, I'm still valuing them and whatnot. A bunch of other perks that I don't really feel like talking about because I already made a whole video explaining all the perks that you get when you become a channel member. It should be in the pinned comments, or if not, you could go click on my channel, click join, you'll see it, the 3-minute video there. Thank you for watching and goodbye.